Hello, hello, hello. That was a bit weird. I was struggling to get connected to StreamYard. I will just prattle away for a little while. Oh, dear me. Good boy, Cooper. As we shall wait for people to join us on this lovely Friday evening. I've gone really cold. I've just had to put a shawl around my shoulders. I feel like Granny Grunt. Well, tonight we are going to chat about Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, in America. I think most people will have heard of Skinwalker. Maybe you've seen some of the programs. I think there's a program on. Is it called? Oh gosh, I can't even remember. It's something like In Search of Skinwalker Ranch or something like that. So we're going to have a little chat about some of the stuff. I found some quite interesting information from the the guy who owns it at the moment. Hi, Danny. How are you? Hope you liked your little. I wasn't going to film Stanley Park. I just happened to be there this morning and thought, do you know what? No, I'll just do a little one for you from here. Um, I've got some. The thing is, I didn't want to make it about Charlie Caroli, the clown, but I've got some really interesting, just some little interesting information that you might like. Hiya, Burren. How are you, my darling? Forgot the name change. Don't you worry. Oh, do you, Daddy? Well, one of the memes I saw, oh, it had me howling laughing. It has a picture of, Camille Vasquez. Is it yeah, Vasquez, isn't it? The Johnny Depp's lawyer, and there's a picture of her, and it just said Camille. The only thing Amber fears more than using a toilet. Which I thought was great. Oh my goodness. Dogman's hairy bollocks. Oh, good grief. And for anybody who doesn't know, because I know a lot of you guys from America who come in here, you're used to a lot of our words, but anybody who's watching and doesn't know, bollocks is the um it's a British word for a pair of testicles. Oh my goodness, what's the picture? I've got to put this up on screen. Oh God. Oh my goodness, they are bollocks as well. Oh, good grief. Hi, Colin Cowpat. And NK's brown bikini. Oh my goodness. Oh, flipping heck. Nicole Kessinger's brown bikini. You'll be having Alan Vinicum coming in, going all drooly over that. And what is it, Dingo Dave? Oh goodness, you've even got I'm just gonna highlight that. You've even got a photo up, haven't you? Oh, oh, I'm highlighting these. Oh my goodness, mutants minge. Good evening, and welcome. I love that Colin Cowpat. Apologies for the smell. Oh, mutants minge. Let's put minge up. Oh God, I love these incognito nights. Colin Cowpat had to tell NK off. She was rubbing herself a well, you know, I've heard about all of this. Marie Cullen, hello, hello, and welcome. How are you? Good to see you. Obviously, everybody's in with them as it's incognito night tonight. There are a lot of silly names until we can guess who's who. The people with funny names are going to remain that way. So I've got no idea who any of them are at the moment. The only people I know are Danny After Dark and Amica and Lies or Burren Witch. So so don't worry if you're out on a limb, Marie. I'll do my usual chat about, well, meet and greet, have a bit of a giggle with everybody for 15 minutes or so, and then I'll start with the Skinwalker stuff. Just a little bit for Danny, though. I don't know, for those of you that saw my video earlier, the one that I did, the first one of Adventures with Cooper, and that was a suggestion by Danny, it was really good, actually. And she said, why don't you do a little, you know, maybe a little series of short videos with Cooper, you know, showing interesting things because, you know, like Danny and maybe other people on different continents, you know, they don't get to see little tiny bits of interesting, well, buildings, places, things to see over here. So that's what we're going to do. But today, this morning, I filmed at Stanley Park while I was out with Cooper, and I went into the first of the formal gardens. Haven't had a chance to watch yet. Don't worry, Burren. I'm just going to say a little bit because in the first of the formal gardens, so we came in from the west, on the west of the park, and we were only in a little teeny weeny bit of it. But that formal garden there is a monument in the centre of the formal gardens to Charlie Caroli. And most people in the UK, hi, Mrs. Mercury. Oh, you have as well. You've made it at the start. You're just going to hear me a little bit. You'll know this, living, you know, coming from this neck of the woods anyway. But Charlie Caroli, known as King of the Clowns, Master of the Ad-lib. He was a fabulous musician as well, which people seem to forget because he was a clown. But Charlie was born in, I can't remember the name, it's something like a Farney or something. I was surprised dogs were allowed in Stanley Park. They're not allowed in ours. They have their own. Oh, wow, really? That's yeah, they're a lot. Yeah, I mean, there are some of the parks in different areas where you know there'll be signs up saying that all dogs have got to be on a lead, or but no, you're allowed in Stanley Park. I mean, usually in the morning, if I'd have filmed about half an hour later, there'd be about 30 dogs all tanking round together, because he's made quite a few little friends. So yeah, it's nice like that. Um, I mean, so long as the dog owners clean up after the dogs, you know, it's a lovely place for them to walk. So anyway, sorry, I'll just go back to my Charlie Caroli story for Danny and anybody else who's interested. So anyway, he came from, it was a little place. It began with an A, and I think oh God, and I can't remember it, but it was Milan in Italy, and he was born there to a circus family. I think they were French Italian. And originally he was performing with his father, and they were performing as the Caroli brothers. And he met his wife, who he married, you know, quite, I think he was early 20s. She was also part of the circus community. Hi, Paul. Welcome, welcome. Just telling a little story about Charlie Caroli before I start with the Skinwalker stuff. If you've had chance to view my video from this morning, The Adventures with Cooper, this is just a little story for one of the monuments that I saw. So she was part of a tumbling acrobat group called the Tomboys Girls, and they married. Anyway, in 1939, this is really interesting. So 1939, he actually performed for at a show that was in Munich. and the guest of honour, believe it or not, at that particular performance was none other than Adolf Hitler. And Adolf Hitler, oh, I've got you under my skin. Hello, hello, and welcome. Good evening. I'll put your picture up as well. So Adolf was so impressed with, and enjoyed Charlie's show so much that after the show, he met him and he gifted him a watch, an expensive gift. And then Charlie that year had got to the flange institution ladliness. Good evening, all you crazy peoples. I keep putting each of you up on screen. Hang on a second. So what he'd done was he'd then been offered. Oh, sorry. Just give me a second because the dog's going round. Just keep him quiet if you can because it's distracting. Stop it, Cooper. So he'd got his first season here in Blackpool at the Blackpool Tower Circus. And so this is in 1939, early 1939, he performed in Munich, was given this gift, then came over to the UK, to Blackpool. And late, I think it was in September of 1939, was when war was declared. And when Charlie had heard what was happening in Germany, and Western Europe, and what Hitler was doing, he walked out to the end of the North Pier at Blackpool. He took the watch off and he flung it into the Irish Sea. And there it remains, unless somebody's found it. That watch from Adolf Hitler went off the end of the North Pier. And he then decided that he was going to make Blackpool his home. So he lived here for the rest of his life. Him and his family raised the children here. He also has a record as being the only act with the longest seasonal run at the Blackpool Tower Circus, because he performed every season here, each year for 40 years. So from 1939 up to 1979 when he retired. And he had to retire because, he was showing exhaustion, and he died not long after, just into 1980. So that's a little bit of history about Charlie Caroli, the famous clown. And there are some videos of him on YouTube. I mean, it's proper old-fashioned kind of Charlie Chaplin type of humour. He's lovely to watch. Is absolutely lovely to watch. So yeah, so there you go. That's who I introduced you to this morning. Cooper, don't. Sorry, he's going to start playing with his toy, and if he does, he'll start barking. Stop it and lie down. Lie down. Oh, didn't you, Mrs. Mercury? Oh, I thought you would have. I thought you would have known that. Yeah, it's but I was just really made up about, the little bit about him throwing the watch off the end of the pier. Yeah, and he lived in at North Shore, so he's probably about a mile and a half away from where I am now. So I fancy at some point going to his house, so I may do that, drive past, do a little bit of filming. And it's nothing grand, it's a typical kind of, similar to the house that we're living in here. It's like a Victorian, just a Victorian house, a nice big roomy house, but, it's not like a massive mansion or anything. But yeah, apparently he was a very down to earth guy. I think he'd had that, he was quite shocked because they did This Is Your Life for him. And he just couldn't understand why anybody wanted, he just didn't look on himself as being famous, and he was. But yeah, fantastic musician and a wonderful, wonderful man by all accounts. So that's a little gift for you from us, Danny, Charlie Caroli, and obviously everybody else. And also whenever Sid comes in, I always go to say Sid, the flipping sexist. Well, he might be in, actually. I have to do Les Dawson and his statue. Yeah, Mrs. Mercury. Not only that, we're going to go and do Eric Morecambe. as well. We'll get up to Morecambe. And I mean, I've had a photograph taken of me doing the dance, but which is quite funny because when we were in the car the other week, Porky and I were singing. We were pretending we were Morecambe and Wise, so we were singing in the car, which was quite funny. So yeah, a lot of fantastic comedians in the northwest of England. But yeah, I actually didn't realise. Well, when I very first heard of Charlie Caroli, I didn't realise that he wasn't actually born in this country. But then you hear him when he's doing his acts, you know, and I've watched videos of him from like the 1970s and earlier. And you can hear his Italian accent, but he's lovely. He's just, I thought, God, what he would have been a fabulous granddad to have, or an uncle even. So, yeah, what I wanted to say was to Sid, if you're in here, Sid, and don't give yourself away, and if not, hopefully you'll hear this on a playback. We've just been for dinner down in the town, and there is in August, there is a punk festival on in Blackpool, and I think it was, just give me a second. Can you remember what it was called, the name of that pub?
The Washington.
The Washington, right in the centre.
That one that you thought looked skanky.
Yeah.
The Washington.
It's a Baby Porky saying, is that the pub you thought looked skanky? It did look a bit skanky from the outside, but it's smack in the centre of Blackpool, and they are having a punk festival in August. I think it's over a few days, wasn't it? Yeah. So, Sid, if you're listening, you might be very interested in that. Yeah, I thought so as well, Danny. But I remembered the story about Hitler while I was, when I was showing you his little monument. But I thought, no, this is about Stanley Park, not Charlie. I'll mention it tonight. So yeah, I'm full of useless information like that. But yeah, I'm thinking I definitely want to go up and because when I told Porky and he was saying, yeah, we'll go to, the Eric Morecambe statue. And I do want to go up to Heysham Head where the Viking grave cuts are. So that I think will be really well. I'll try and tell that very interestingly because it's something that I love to talk about, as you all know, with Viking history. Right. Okay, just a second. Cooper, stop it and lie down. We're not doing this tonight. We're not. Lie down.
Down.
Lie down. Good boy, and stay there. Right, so has anybody got any ideas who anybody is yet? Because I haven't got a bleeding clue. I've got you under my skin. Let me just go back through the names. Dogman's hairy bollocks. The Flange Institution of Flange Laidliness. Do you know what? Well, no, I'm not going to guess just yet because that will be quite mean. Who else have we got? Cooper, stop it. The Mutants Minge. Colin Cowpat. Oh my goodness. And NK's brown bikini. Who else have we got? Yeah, I haven't got a damn clue who any of you are, so I will do my best to guess as the night goes on. Right, so. Oh, community Cara, we've got another one.
Are they toes?
I'm just going to put that up on screen so we can have a little look.
Oh yeah, they're toes.
Toes, yeah.
Lovely.
Baby Porky think we are all mad. No, you don't think they're mad, do you not?
No.
No. She's been liking these stories about the dog men though, so so usually Baby Porky is upstairs listening to Harry Styles. She's just got a Harry Styles album and she's going to the Harry Styles concert with her dad for her birthday. And she's wearing a Harry Styles, is it a hoodie or just a sweatshirt?
It's just a jumper.
Yeah, Harry Styles sweatshirt, jumper. Yeah, so, and she's come down to join us. So we're quite honoured tonight. Although,
As you should.
hopefully,
How the hell did you?
what's that? My daughter says, oh God, the bigger a man's feet, the bigger a man's meat. She doesn't have to date some clowns.
Okay, cute.
Hope she don't get nightmares. No, she'll be all right. You'll be all right, won't you?
Yeah.
You won't get nightmares. Cooper, stop that. Stop it now.
Come on. No.
Coops, enough. He's got hyper giddy because obviously I'm doing my usual talking, and then baby Porky came in, so because he loves her, so he's just getting himself a little bit overexcited. Okay, so every time you say Cooper, my dog comes running over. He's Cooper too. He said, "Oh, really, Marie? Oh, that's lovely. Good boy, lie down." Oh, I'll try. I'll call him something else like fool or something. See how we get on. See, Marie's got a dog called Cooper as well. So every time I say his name, her dog comes running over. So we'll have to try not to say, stop scabbing. Come on, lie down. Right, who's ready for a bit of Skinwalker? And first of all, does anybody not know about Skinwalker Ranch? So we've got a baby Porky doesn't know about Skinwalker Ranch. But I know quite a few people in chat will have heard about it. I'll just wait because I know there's a little bit of a delay. Marie, no, NK's brown bikini. Mutants Minge only knows a little. Don't be telling your dad you've seen all these words up on screen. He'll be going.
Seen worse, to be fair.
I know, but keep it up. It's really
probably up there watching. That's what he's laughing
he
at.
probably is watching upstairs.
Mirror or something.
Keep it up. It's really funny. Okie dokie. So, Skinwalker Ranch. It's become very famous because over the last there's been like 50 or so years of paranormal and or strange phenomena going on at Skinwalker Ranch. And Skinwalker Ranch is in it's southeast of a place called Ballard in Utah in the United States, and it's a property of around about 512 acres in size. They keep cattle on there. It was formerly known as the Sherman Ranch. And while that family had it, there was all sorts going on prior to them selling it. So what I've got are a few. Just give me a second. It's all right. Just leave him with it. Cooper, you're getting on my last nerve now. Stop. So initially, the property from 1936 to 1994 was owned by a couple called Kenneth and Edith Myers. Now, after that, they sold it, or it was sold in 1994 to Terry and Gwen Sherman, which is why it then became known as the Sherman Ranch. And they owned it until 1996. Then in 1996, up until 2016, so fairly recently, it was owned by Robert Bigelow. He bought the property for $200,000. And when he sold it in 2016, and to this day, so 2016 to present, it's owned by Brandon Fugel. Now, if you're going to say Shell Corporation in brackets via Adamantium Holdings, now he bought the property for $4.5 million. There's been all sorts going on, as I said, in the 50 years of documented cases at Skinwalker Ranch. There've been all sorts of things going on there. So there have been cattle that have vanished or have been mutilated. There have been many UFO sightings, strange light sightings. This is one of the weirdest things. Large animals with piercing red eyes, gigantic wolves, which I am thinking are dogmen, or skinwalkers even. Now, these animals, when you shoot at them, this is why I'm thinking they're possibly dogmen, because they're unhurt. Like, bullets have got absolutely no effect on them when they're shot, and that's one of the things that's quite common with, with the dogmen stories. There are invisible objects that emit destructive magnetic fields. They're just all sorts of weird things. There are possible skinwalker sightings. Now, the skinwalkers are they're like an evil entity that are famous and talked about by the Navajo Indians. And the Navajo believe that these are like a shaman or a witch or what have you, who will transform into a creature, generally a wolf or a wolf-like animal, to basically to do you some harm. And that's what that's what is known as the skinwalker. And that is how this ranch ended up becoming known as Skinwalker Ranch, because of the sightings of what is potentially a skinwalker. Okay. Oh gosh, right, I'm gonna have a little second because the dog is trying to play ball, as always. Just not funny. No, Cooper, come on now, stop. Now, one of the things that the current owner has been talking about, this Brandon Fugel, is I don't know if anyone's heard of what they call the hitchhiker phenomenon. And this is that things that happen at Skinwalker Ranch, because they've got a team of investigators there, they live on site. The one thing that happened as well, when he bought it, just after he bought it, all the roads that would normally run through the ranch were sealed off. They've got security teams that are manning, the boundaries. There are security towers that are manned 24/7 to stop people getting into the ranch. But it was just the fact that they completely cut it off. Very, very weird. I mean, there's apparently part of it's like a secretive Pentagon. What do they call it? What's the word they used for it? Like a Pentagon group. YouTube is deleting comments. Oh, what, they're deleting community, Karen? What the heck are they? Do you know what? This happens to me a lot when I'm like either posting on lives or just some words. I don't know what it is, because I've got no bans on anything on my, because you can put certain words that are flagged, can't you? And sometimes my comments will just vanish. And I think, why is nobody replying to me? And then when I check, if you change, if say you're on live chat, if you change to top chat and then back to live chat again, that's how you can tell if comments have been removed. NK's Brown Bikini, I've not seen anything deleted. Karen, I can see your comments okay. Yeah, is there anything in particular that you put down, Karen? They must disapprove of being reported for sex. I don't get that. I don't understand that one. Sorry for being a little bit thick.
A little bit.
Right. We shall, just while we're waiting for a reply to that one, I shall just catch up with what I was then going to talk about. Oh yeah, sorry, I was talking about this hitchhiker phenomenon. So things that happen to some of these investigators at Skinwalker Ranch will follow them home, and start to happen at their own homes, which could be, the other side of the country, 1,000 miles away from Skinwalker when they finally get to their own home, and they'll find that this is happening. And this Brandon Fugel was saying people don't really like to talk about it. It's a bit like actors never wanting to mention Macbeth. They'll call it now that the humour is totally lost and Karen complained about. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was being thick. I am really sorry. It's because I'm trying desperately to concentrate on the story and stop the dog from bloody farting about. So yeah, I'm sorry. What I should do is, it's really bad because I shouldn't keep watching the chat because I just lose my track all the time. So yeah, sorry about that, community Karen. There's a Navajo ranger called Jonathan Dover who talks about skinwalkers and the places police won't go. NK's brown bikini. I get it now. Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't the only one, NK. I didn't get it either. Yeah, Mrs. Mercury. I mean, I love listening to some of these Navajo stories. So I'm just laughing here. Child of Porky is eating a watermelon, and it's like
entire half of a
yeah,
watermelon.
entire half a watermelon, and it's like a bite for her and a spoonful for Cooper because he loves watermelon. So I'm just watching him. At least it's keeping the little bugger quiet.
There,
That's
shut
the
up, you.
that's the main thing. But yeah, he's happily eating. And I know his brother Ben. Yeah, and his what's the bend over? Yeah, it's his cousin as well, and Phil McCracken. Or is it Phil McCavity? I can see tonight going down in history. Oh dear me. So I'm just going to get on to Brandon Fugel before I get completely lost. Cooper, behave, sweetheart. So when he bought the ranch, he did say that he was going to approach everything as a healthy skeptic. He said he'd never seen a UFO, a ghost, nothing paranormal, and that he believed that there was most likely a natural explanation for everything that, especially that had been written in the book. The Search of the Skinwalker. Just gonna Hunt for the Skinwalker. It was it's a book, Dr. Colm Kelleher and George Knapp's book, Hunt for the Skinwalker. Now Fugel had read that. A kid in the youth club told me his name was Phil McCracken. I believed him. The gay Irishman, Patrick Fitzgerald and Gerald Fitzpatrick. Oh my goodness.
Found one.
Oh, we're going. Okay, so he'd read that book, this Brandon Fugel. He read the book, and then when it came up for sale, and he was approached and asked was he interested in purchasing it, he said, yeah, absolutely. So as he said, he was approaching everything as a skeptic. Now, when he spoke to Bigelow and his associates, he said that they were quite amused, and they shared with him the reality of what their 20 years of investigations had revealed, because that's how long Bigelow and his team had been investigating the ranch since they purchased it from the Shermans. It was also disclosed to him that the ranch had been part of a 5-year Pentagon black budget program, which was studying the UFO phenomenon. And although the results of that investigation still remain classified and confidential, well, he's admitted himself. He said the phenomenon is real. He does say that now he's no longer skeptical and something definitely mysterious is happening at the ranch. He does say he knows for a fact that it's real. He's witnessed with his own eyes, with other credible witnesses with him, what can only be described as daylight sightings of exotic craft over the Skinwalker Ranch. And his own paranormal experiences started soon after his research on the ranch began. I think they were only like 6 months into his investigations. There was a unnamed dignitary visiting with a security detail, and they cited, so he was there as well with this dignitary and the security detail. They saw a 40 to 50 foot long silver greyish disc-like object that performed maneuvers that were stunning and defy conventional explanation. So, this wasn't a one-off. This was a bit like the other night, we were talking about credible sightings and Travis Walton being, why his story carries such credibility. And it's because there were independent witnesses. Well, it's the same here with Skinwalker. Now, the same day that they saw this craft, all the smartphones, everybody's smartphones completely drained of energy. There were some medical episodes that people suffered from during that particular day. Now, the other thing was as well, there was somebody had a brand new car. Any reaction? Hello? I just caught that joke. I'm slow tonight. Ivor, don't worry. I've been the same. I'm slow as out. Hello, Paula. How are you?
Did you say any reaction?
Yeah, any reaction.
That's any reaction.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God. How bad is that I've just had a 12-year-old telling me that any reaction is actually an erection and getting the joke as well? Oh, I'm shocking. But I am going to put you up on screen so I can see. I'm shocking. Oh, but it's a cute little pony. I'm shameful. I'm absolutely shameful. I am NK. It's because, no, do you know why? It's because sometimes when I've shocked Richard or shocked Sif, sad that kiddo knows that. I know, Karen, I know. Would you like to complain to the authorities?
Whoa, what authorities?
Well, she's been a community Karen.
She needs the manager.
Yeah, needs the manager. Ask for the manager. I want to see the manager. So yeah, sorry. Another guy here had a brand new car, and it just shuts off suddenly. All the lights start blinking on and off, and it always happens at the ranch. Something. Apparently, they were saying that this was, there was something going on at the ranch, and then, yeah, there you go. She just said what Baby Porky said. What to speak to the manager, and this guy's car. When he's at home, if there's something going on at the ranch, all this phenomenon starts to happen again in the car. The lights flashing, things going on and off. So it can be sat there and think, yep, I know there's something happening at the ranch at the moment. Then when they check, they find out that yes, there is. Now, and this is an actual fact, there's several participants, including military operatives, refused to ever set foot on the property again due to the negative experiences that they've had. So, including this hitchhiker phenomenon, things following them home. Even Mr. Bigelow, the former owner, he's had experiences that have followed him, resulting in his refusal to ever visit the property ever again. And that's bad for the former property owner. Sorry, we've got a little squeaky Cooper here at the moment. So there's a couple of little stories that I know. One I told from the other night, so I will repeat that tonight, which was about the calf. For those of you, because not everybody was here. So one of these stories was that ranch hand was out, because there are cattle kept, on Skinwalker Ranch. Oh gosh, the dog's off again.
Keep us up.
Come on, mate, have a minute. So this guy had gone out to one of the paddocks, so he'd driven out like across the ranch, so it's not near any accessible roads. There's just a bit of a, yeah, it is Miss Erection or Misrection. And it's he'd driven out to check on, there were cows out there getting ready to give birth, and some of them were right due, so he's going to check if any of them had the calves, how close the rest of them were to calving, and so on and so forth. And he drove out across the ranch to the paddock that they were kept in. So he went in through the gate. Now he is in an open space. There is full 360 clear view. There's nothing hindering your view, so you can see if anybody is walking up, driving up, flying up. You can't creep up on you there. There's nowhere to hide, okay, unless you're hiding behind a cow. So he goes in through the gate. Just as he gets through there is a calf that's been born. It's a day or two old, but it's a new calf. So he just checks it over, makes sure it's all right, it's umbilical cord, everything, it's not got any cuts, abrasions, what have you. Has a quick cursory glance at the mother to make sure that she's okay, and then he decides to walk down, because there's some other cattle further down the fence line, so he walks down to check on them. He walks down the fence line, checks on the other cattle, turns round to come back to his truck, which is parked near the gate. Now, he hasn't been gone 10 minutes, okay? And this is a flat field, clear view. He has not been gone 10 minutes, walked down, turned round and came back. When he came back, the calf was dead. It wasn't just dead, it had been mutilated. So it looked like there was no blood. So it had been drained of blood. There was no blood on the floor. It had incisions had been made on it, so its genitalia had been removed by what looked like a laser. This was precision cutting. There were no jagged marks. It was absolute precision cutting and cauterization. So genitals had been removed, the tongue had been removed, the anus had been removed, of all things. Which is, we were talking about, we were saying that the other night. It was really weird. Why were they taking bum holes? And it's so strange, isn't it, Mrs. Mercury? But he had heard nothing, he had seen nothing, and this had just happened when he'd no more than turned his back, walked down the field, turned around and came back. This is something that would have taken a while to do. But in the space of 10 minutes, making those tea towel holders in the sky. Oh, yes, of course. Oh, my goodness. Oh, now I've got to remember who said that. Because then I'll be able to guess who Colin Cowpat was, and I can't remember. For anybody who doesn't know, we were talking about funny names for bumholes one night, a couple of months ago. And, you got the rusty sheriff's badge and the chocolate starfish. And then somebody said it was a chocolate starfish.
Wow.
And somebody said it was one of those plastic tea towel holders, that used to stick on the side of your drawers and shove a tea towel in, which had us all howling laughing. And I can't remember who said it. I know, Karen, it is poor baby as well. It's such a shame. Such an absolute shame for them. But some of these things that happen to these, they happen to grown cows and bulls, not just little babies. So There was, when the area around this calf was tested, there was radiation in the ground higher than normal. And this is another thing that seems to happen there. Wasn't that Sid? I don't know, Mrs. Mercury. I honestly can't remember. Flipping tea towel holder. Oh, it's going to get on my nerves, that is now. They may have mistaken it for part of sexual bits if they don't know what shit is. Yeah, Minge, that's actually true. Although they are taken separately. You know, like if it's a cow, it'll be the anus is taken and then, you know, the vagina. It's not taken as, you know, en masse as like one huge whole. Sometimes they are, but not always. And then like the udders will be cut away as well and things. So, but yeah, usually, Cooper, stop it. When this happens, there will be a heightened radioactive reading taken at the site of the body, and a lot of the time, the grass or plants will not grow there where the body was found. So very, very strange. Now, one of the other phenomena that we were talking about were these creatures, these gigantic red-eyed creatures. And before I get into this, has anybody got any thoughts about the cattle mutilations? What you think they might be? And has anybody got any idea who anybody may be? I'm thinking at the moment. Oh, it was Ivor. It was Mirrorman who said that. Right, is Colin Cowpat Mirrorman? Thank you, Ivor, because I'd forgotten who that was, but I've not seen Mirrorman in for a while. But just in case it is, that's my first guess of the evening. Oh, you're not Colin. Right. Okay, Colin, thank you. It was worth a shot. Just going to see what's Ivor's photograph again. I like Annie Rection's one. What is... I can't see what that photograph is. What is it? I've got you under my skin. Like a scary eye. Coop, stop it now, mate. Stop.
I'm just going to get the charger.
Cooper, stop. Okay. Right. Well, I shall just carry on then. If anybody's got any questions, please stop and ask me, because I'll rattle on, and I'm trying my best not to be distracted by the chat, just till I've got a few of these stories out. So one of these stories that there are a lot, but one of these stories are that I've heard were some investigators who were out at the ranch, and they were out at night time, and they were going across the ranch, and they were you know, just basically going to see what they could. I don't know. I can't remember if they were ghost hunters or whatnot, but they just decided that they were going to go across the ranch and see what they could see. And in the road in front of them appeared this huge creature, huge thing that looked, if you imagine, you know, a hyena, and they've got that hunched, you know, the shoulders are higher and the sloping back. If you imagine a supersized kind of hyena shape, that was a bit what it looked like, but it had these glowing evil red eyes, and they were like, oh my god. And then it kind of trundled off into the, you know, off to the side of the road, and when they flashed the flashlight round, they couldn't see it, so they all get out of the vehicle and they go to try and look for it, and they realize that this thing is kind of circling round them, but they can't catch it in the torch, and they've got these powerful torches, and then all the torches that are with them suddenly start to lose power. So, which is bad. So they start to lose power. They've got no light. They can hear this thing, and it's making all sorts of like growling noises and, you know, and whatnot. And then I think it was somebody's phone, but they managed to get a light source, and they see, again, they don't get a real good close look at it, but they see this shape, and it is going off over the crest of a hill. So I don't know why they would do this, not having any light or anything, but they decide to then follow it, and they're running across this basically desert with, you know, scrub brush and what have you. Cooper, stop it. Stop it. God, the dog's getting all excited. Favourite cushion humper. Stop now. So they're following this creature, and it goes over the crest of a hill. And as they breach the top, and I'm by me saying hill, it's not like a massive hill. It's just, you know, an undulation in the ground, but it disappears over this small ridge. As they get over the top of the ridge, they've then got a torch to start working again. They flash it down, and they see this creature like jump into what they presume is going to be a huge hole in the ground, because this thing is massive. It's absolutely massive. So they reckon that whatever it's just jumped into has got to be huge as well. And they catch up to it, and it's not, it's just this like tiny little hole in the ground. And they've no explanation as to where it could be, you know, where it could have gone to. Just, yeah, poof, gone. And this is why, and I remember when Green Eyes was saying the other night that she thought that, you know, it was possibly a portal into another dimension. And that's where I agree as well. I think there's a lot of stuff that's happening on Skinwalker Ranch. These things that are appearing, disappearing. You know, there've been reports of this thing, whatever it is. Well, the same thing, or it might be another, you know, another one of these creatures patrolling around the ranch house, you know, in the pitch black at night, making sounds. You know, there's growling, there's scratching, really weird, you know, like it's stalking. But nobody knows, and I don't think anyone's really had a clear view of it, you know, as to what it could be. Just this kind of outline that looks very similar to a gigantic and oversized hyena. So that was one of them. Now, just bear with me 1 second. Yeah, portal from hell. Very, very, very possible, Paul. You know, very possible. I mean, I've got no other explanation for it. You know, portal from hell, portal into another dimension. I don't want to live in their world. Very scary things in there. Well, you know, when you hear about things that people say they've seen, I mean, you know, and I'm pretty sure someone who was, because I've not watched the Skinwalker series. I just thought it was a little, for me, it was a little bit too sensationalized. But I've just gone off the stories and investigations that I've heard about. Could be Middle Earth again, Mrs. Mercury, absolutely. Another, yes, Ivor, that's what I think, from another dimension. So I just lost my train of thought then. What was I talking? Sorry, because this is because the dog is just walking around. Give me 1 second, please, guys. I'm just going to mute for a moment. Right, guys, sorry about that. I'm back. I'm just trying to tell the dog off, but it's just, yeah, I don't work well with background distractions. I just like nice peace and quiet so I can talk about what we're talking about. I've never watched Stranger Things, NK. Oh, obviously, Ivor's watched it as well. Yeah, it's not something I've ever watched. Um, Now, all the interest in this area really was starting in the 1960s and 70s. Oh, is it? Oh, I might have a watch of that then, NK. So in the 60s and 70s, there was an absolute, well, there was a real abundance of UFO sightings around that area. And then in the mid-90s, there were stories about Skinwalker and strange goings on at the ranch started to come out. And these stories, as I said before, it was everything from cattle mutilations to UFOs. Now, apparently, Skinwalker Ranch is the most scientifically studied paranormal hotspot on the planet, with the highest frequency of documented UFO sightings, cattle mutilations, electromagnetic anomalies, and unexplained phenomena. So that gives you a little pause for thought, doesn't it? Now, as I was saying before, skinwalkers, when it was named Skinwalker Ranch, but the Navajo tribe describe this a type of shaman that practices bad or black magic. And that was a little note that was just to the side about what a skinwalker was, because I know some people don't know. Now, this Brandon Fogel, who owns it now, he's been asked many, many occasions, did you buy the ranch in order to make some money? Now, he said no, which I probably would expect him to say, whether he did or he didn't. But he has claimed that he's yet to, make a penny from it regarding this particular endeavour that he's got at the ranch. And he also said that, he'd never intended to reveal his identity of the owner, because when he purchased it, there were some very strict confidentiality agreements in place and liability waivers. So he kept his identity secret until he was persuaded to go public. And that was only because the History Channel were doing the documentary or the docuseries on Skinwalker Ranch, and that's when they persuaded him, to come forward and reveal his identity. Now, when all this interest initially started happening on the Skinwalker Ranch, or what was previously Sherman Ranch, as we'll call it, people were just thinking all these so-called UFO sightings, the people who were seeing them were cranks. They were, they were ridiculed. They were dismissed offhand, as most people normally are. But since the Pentagon released their documents about UFO sightings and the contact that the US military have been having with UFOs over the past several decades, now that opinion has started to shift. People are being believed more. And they've also got, now hang on, it's the UAP, which is the unidentified aerial phenomena. I think, task force that was set up by the US government in 2020. And that was part of ONI, the Office of Naval Intelligence. They wanted to standardise and collect information about UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, sightings. Now, it was claimed that the task force would be examining unauthorised aircraft where the observer, now this is it, and I quote, where the observer cannot immediately identify what he or she is observing. That's a little bit wishy-washy, isn't it? Now, they established the UAPTF to improve their understanding of and gain insight into the nature and origins of UAPs. I like how they have all these. They just do not want to call them UFOs, do they? The mission of the task force is to detect, analyze, and catalogue the UAPs that could potentially pose a threat to US national security. But that makes me laugh. How can they tell what will or will not? I mean, if it's kind of a, they're on a bit of a fishing expedition, just checking out what kind of defenses we've got, how intelligent we are. They're not going to know it. That's a spy, isn't it? That's potentially a risk. They can't tell what's going to be a risk or not. Now, in 2021, Bill Nelson, who's the chief of NASA, he spoke to CNN and he said he didn't think that UFO sightings were a case of optical illusion. Now, if he doesn't think they're coming from Earth, where does he think they're coming from? This is where I then start to think about interdimensional portals. Now, he said, we don't know if it's extraterrestrial. We don't know if it's an enemy. We don't know if it's an optical phenomenon. We don't think it's an optical phenomenon because of the characteristics that those Navy jet pilots described. And so the bottom line is, we want to know. Yeah, you say tomato, I say tomato. Oh gosh, I'm never going to say things. It's like, the one thing that gets me as well is aluminum. When because I mean, I've got a lot of friends in America, and whenever they say aluminum, and I go, is that how it's spelt? It aluminium. Where's the bit gone? Where's the minium? Min gone? The min vanishes. Does make me laugh. Optical illusion. I know. Flipping optical illusions. Now, professor of history at Penn State University, he studies the history of UFO sightings and claims of alien contact. I'm going to give you, can't be optical phenomenon because of the antibiotics. Oh, yeah, Americans are antibiotics, don't they? Route. Oh, the route. Yeah, but I can kind of give you that one, because that is, Americans do say that how it's spelled, like route. We just say route, don't we? But the one thing that does get me is when you're talking about, like a buoy in the water. And I'm sorry, I promise you, this isn't an American bashing evening. It just makes me laugh the way we all say things differently. And Americans say a buoy. So yeah, they always make me laugh. I think they're great. Oh, and another one, one of my friends, but this used to really get to me, and he always says vehicle. He doesn't say vehicle, he'll go vehicle. But it's not all Americans, is it? I think it's only certain states Who say that? Because I think we've had this discussion before with, I think it was with Voodoo Queen and Bedtime Clown. And I think you were there as well, Paul. And we were talking about that. And none of you said vehicle. It seemed to be, places like, say, I don't know, Georgia or, I don't know, the southern states tended to say it. That's it, NK, Abu-E. It only gets me when the meaning is wildly different from country to country. Yeah. Do you know one of those? Perfect example. If any of you remember, there was a song out, or it was years and years ago, but it caused a lot of controversy in the UK because it was a song from America and it was regarding a dance called the shag. And the song was There Ain't Nothing Like Shagging, which was the about the song. Well, over here in the UK, shagging means basically bumping uglies, making the beast with two backs. So
Having a whale of a time.
so yeah, so that was there was a lot of radio stations didn't want to play it. What about the song? Oh yeah, you're right, Ivor. Get your kicks on Route 66. Yeah. Now why? Yeah, right. Paul as or Danny as our or Lady Witch might be there as well. Why is that? Because the other thing that always makes me laugh. Oh, this sounds like we're totally anti-American. I promise you we're not, but I just think it's great. We're all just cousins, aren't we? One thing that I really like is, for the 4th of July, because you guys say it the other way, don't you? Like normally you'd say July the 1st, July 2nd. We'll say 1st of July, 2nd of July. Even though the 4th of July is when you're celebrating independence from us, you would expect you to say July 4th, but you support the 4th of July. So just for a laugh with all my American friends, I used to send them messages going, "Happy Traitors Day, colonialists." Oh yeah, fanny as well. Yeah, because you call a bum a fanny, don't you? Whereas we call a fanny over here is a minge. Fanny. I remember the controversy around the movie The Spy Who Shagged. But yeah, no, Austin Powers. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? How'd you get a fanny pack from a bum bag? But yeah, but that's why it's just because the Americans call the bum is the fanny. Community Karen, did you report it? Very quick, NK. I'm going to highlight that one because I think it's quite funny. But again, it's the same with, Australian. There are phrases in Australia, South Africa, all the different continents. And it doesn't even have to go that far. It can even just be something as simple and as different as, from England to Scotland. They'll say things mean the completely different things. Some of the words that are used are totally different. Shameful behaviour. I think we're going to have a little. No, hang on a minute. I'm going to try and have a little guess. Community cat. Oh, I want to try and have a little guess as to who people are. I am going to say. Yeah, that's it, Mrs. Mercury. And I've said that a few times in here. Greeting. Yeah, means crying. And I think, a few times that I've typed stuff and I said, oh God, I was greeting. And I totally forget. And then I realise, because obviously that's it, NK. Rooting in the UK is searching, not rooting around for summit, shagging in Australia. I heard that Kevin Wilson, Kevin Bloody Wilson, the singer, and he was saying about rooting, and we'd seen him in concert, and I was like, I just didn't understand why all these Aussies were screaming, laughing. And this guy explained it to me, and he said, no, rooting is basically, yeah, what you call shagging. I was like, and now I get the joke. But yeah, so yeah, pearl clutching, bit of pearl clutching. Oh, NK, I love him. I absolutely love him. If you, one of the funniest videos I've ever seen, have you watched It's Over Before It Began? I don't think it is Mrs. Mercury. I don't think NK is Green Eyes. I think, you see, I was having a bit of a mooch around, a bit of a mooch around, a bit of a look back through comments, and I'm really struggling with you all tonight.
Did you find out who Cooper's Coco funnel was?
Yeah, that was my friend Denny. Oh, that's it. Right, hang on. You've just reminded me now. I think that, hang on a minute. What was that very long name before? Because that's the one I thought was possibly Denny, if she was in. Was it a flangy, whatever it was called? Oh God, I can't remember it now. Sorry, I'm going back through chat to see if I can find it. Don't start, Cooper, please. Sorry about this. There you go. The Flange Institution of Flange Ladliness. I was thinking that was Denny. So the Flange Institution of Flange Ladliness. If that's Denny, please reveal yourself. But that's who I think that was. And the Mutants Minge, I thought may possibly be Meadow. And NK's brown bikini, I thought might possibly have been Helen. And then, oh, Denny. Oh no, I've not seen Denny in. No, we've got Danny in, Danny After Dark in, but no, Denny, tis me Denny. I thought that might, the flangy one might be tis me Denny. The Mutants Minge. Oh, right, so you're not Meadow. Okie dokie. In that case, then, maybe Lady Witch. I'll try for Lady Witch for the Mutant Minge. Who else have we got? I've got you under my skin. How about, is that, could that be Simples by any chance? We've got Colin Cowpat as well, and the Dogman's Hairy Bollocks. I think Dogman's Hairy Bollocks might be Green Eyes. Oh, I'm doing so bad. I am doing really bad. NK thinks that Ivor is Frida. No, I think Colin Cowpat might be Frida. Do you know, this is going to go the same way that, do you remember the night when you all started putting, you changed your names to my names and you all came in as Kiss My Axe, and
you were practically crying.
I was, yeah, see, even Child of Porky knows that. Yeah, I was getting really upset. I'm a bit shit. I'm not the only one, Colin. Colin flipping Cowpat.
I know for a fact that Dad isn't watching.
Colin right, how about then Colin Cowpat as Sheila? and Mountain Banners Community. Community Karen. Oh, I'm gonna need a few. Oh no, do you know what? Community Karen, is that Sid? Could that be the lovely Sid the sexist? Oh, hang on. Who did I? Who's guessed somebody's guessed somebody right? Hang on. Oh, so either is Frida. Flipping heck! Oh, this is I hate. Right, I'm not getting. Oh, so Community Karen. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we need to have 5 minutes of trying to guess. There's only been one person guessed right so far. So Frida, reveal your lovely self and come back in the room. NK rules. Oh gosh. Right. I've got to try and have a little look, because sometimes you can give yourselves away with the way you type, but not always. And it's getting harder and harder. Right, let's have a think. So Colin no. Right, okay. The no. Let's have a guess let's go for, hang on, Colin Cowpat. Right, I'm going to say Simple's Meerkat. We'll go for Simples, because have I guessed you yet? NK's brown bikini. So NK's brown bikini. It would be. Oh my goodness! I've got. I didn't guess you last time, Frida, either. Oh, I've got one right. I've got one right. Calling Cowpat. It's simple. Surely one of the. No, Porky's not here tonight. He's upstairs playing his Phasmophobia with them. They've got a big live stream on, so he's not joining us at all.
I thought if anyone was going to be Dad.
Who would it have been, do you think?
You mean the ones that are left?
Yeah.
So there's.
So I've just guessed Colin Cowpat. That's simple as Meerkat.
Would not be NK.
Oh, Karen is Burren. Oh, is it? Oh no, Burren had forgotten though, hadn't she? She came in and she'd forgotten that it was to change her name.
She could have gone out and changed.
Oh yeah, she could have. Okay, all right. Let's see. Karen. No, it's not Burren Witch. Oh dear me. We're not doing good tonight, ladies and gents. Community. No, hang on. I'm gonna go for Community Karen, because it is more of an American thing, isn't it? So I'm gonna do process of elimination. Community Karen. Let's say who do we think? Lady Witch. Let's go for Lady Witch. What do you think, Lady Witch? Yeah. Right, we'll go for Lady Witch as the Community Karen. We'll go for
if Dad was in here.
You think it'd be Mutant Minge?
Yeah.
No, I think the Mutant's Minge is going to be. Oh gosh.
I know for a fact that
Oh, get back of the net. I've got two right now. High five me. No, Cooper, you don't need to bark to high five me.
Oh yeah.
Lady Witch, bloody hell, fire.
Sit. High five. No, not.
And that was pure, do you know what? That was purely on the basis of the Karen thing, because I just wouldn't have got it. And like I said, Frida 2 weeks running now has got me stumped. Simples was a pure guess. So all you guys reveal yourselves. Now I've got to guess who NK's brown bikini is. Stop. Stop it. I thought the poo would have been a dead. Well, no, it was only as I started thinking about it, and it was just when you put the na, and I thought, yeah. Well, do you know what? It wasn't the toenails, Lady Witch. It was purely the Karen thing because I didn't know who it was. Stop now. Stop. But I think, although they're not here anymore, but I was sure that the Dogman's hairy bollocks was Green Eyes. But whoever that is, they've gone now. So maybe Green Eyes is somebody else. So let's go for NK. Are you Green Eyes? Just thought I'd ask. NK's brown. Not Julia. Do you know what? Could you be trying to throw us off the? Could you be Sid by any chance, trying to throw us off the tail, off the trail, pretending to be a lady? And then we'll also have, no doubt, there's possibly a Kathy, a Meadow, a Starlight, maybe even a Sam in here. I think Mutants Minge is sick. I haven't got a.
Ew.
The Mutants. I know. Oh, look at this. I've got another one. It's Sid. NK's brown bikini.
Well done.
Yeah, fist bump. Okay, right. I've got 3 now, so that's not too bad. I'm trying to go for the crafty side because I'm thinking it's not a case of me now working out who you are by your names. I'm thinking I've got to think outside the box. So, like I said, community Karen. Yeah, you're right. Well, like we've just got NK's brown bikini. That is Sid. So I got that one right. Did you hear about the punk festival then, Sid? Were you in here then? Obviously, you wouldn't have been able to stand up and be recognised at the time. The Mutants Minge just eating at the minute. I don't even want to know what you're eating though.
Probably the mutant. Oh,
Don't believe her. She's just guessing at. Yeah, I am just guessing. However, I am guessing with. I am guessing with there is there's method in my madness because, like I said, the late Karen thing, it's more of an American thing, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. So the only other American in here was Danny After Dark, and Danny came in as a self. Sorry, American female, I should say. So I thought I'll just go for that with you. And it was a na thing that kind of gave it away for Simples because she has done that before. And Sid was a pure guess, but it was just because I thought, hang on, could it be Sid pretending to be a woman just to throw me off the trail? So yeah, I'm not doing this by anything other than fabulous guesswork because I still have got no idea who Mutant Minge is. I've got no idea who the bollock. Well, I guessed that hairy bollocks might be Green Eyes, but I'm not sure. So, or that could be Tismy Denny even. Maybe Mutants Minges, 'tis me, Danny. I know, Frida. I know. Who else? Who have we not got now? I got Colin Cowpat, didn't I? Mutants Minge. Look at my pick. Hang on. Let's look at your pick again.
I thought that was a frog.
Right, you're closest to telly. Have a look at the when it comes up. Tell me what the picture is. Right, I've got Baby Porky right up next to the 60-inch telly.
What? I don't even know what it is.
Oh, right. She's no use then.
Oi! Well, from one angle it looks like a tree, and then you turn your head and it looks like some demonic little fuzzball with a face on it.
Okay, so the pic's not doing us any good at the moment, Minge. Sid, did you hear? Sorry, we're going to ask again. You might have been away changing yourself back. Did you hear? I don't know if you were here before when we were talking about the punk festival that's on in August.
Let me get my phone so I can take a picture.
Here in Blackpool. So when we went for dinner earlier, I think it was called. Oh, the lights in the sky. Oh, hang on. I'm going to have to get right up to the telly now and have a little look. Right, the lights in the sky. Oh, could that be Julia? All right, well, this is at a pub called, I think it's the Washington. I don't know what it is.
See what I mean?
Yeah, but it's what the lights in the sky are. The Waterloo. Oh, yeah, that might be it then. The Waterloo. I know it looked like a bit of a dive from the outside, but we were kind of up the road a little bit. Oh, it's Julia! Yay! Oh, yeah. Well, I've only got that because of the lights in the sky thing. Right, who haven't we got now? Who have we still got?
Keep it away now. No.
OK's Brown Bikini, Community Karen. Yeah, we're just waiting for Dog's Bollock. I think that's it. Oh no, and that Flangely, whatever they were called.
Laugh.
Yeah. Flanginess of flange laddiness or whatever they were. I think that was possibly Denny. Oh no, we've got An Erection as well. Who was An Erection? I wondered, An Erection, could that be Anne Westwood by any chance? And I'm only going because of the name. Winter Gardens is the biggest punk festival in the world. I'm going to that one. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, it was just as we came out where we'd been for dinner, and we saw the signs, and I just said to Porky, I said, "Oh, we'll have to let Sid know that one." I've bloody missed the last 10 minutes because Chucky and Damien were kicking off about pausing the bloody DVD, and he didn't have a wrench. Oh, did they not? Oh, right. You see, I can't see on my phone if they have or not. All right, okay. But that doesn't mean anything because that could be Sheila then, because Sheila's got about 9 million alts that she comes in and fills everybody with. or Helen, it could have even been. Yeah, I'm wondering whether Helen was in there. And I'm sure I've missed somebody. Can anybody think of anybody that I've missed out? You're all getting very, very good at these these flipping names that you're fooling me with. My goodness. So sorry, we've had a little bit of a wait time from Skinwalker Ranch there. But that's been quite enjoyable. I like trying to find. At least I found. How many did I guess? Was it four or three or four altogether?
Four.
That's not bad going for me. That's not bad going. Right. So I'm gonna get you some more stuff up about Skinwalker while we've been having a little private interlude. And if you give me a moment, I shall sort this out. How many still incognito? I think there's an erection, Dogman's hairy bollocks, and the flanginess of flangeladiness or whatever it was, who I think have possibly gone out. So I've got no idea. I reckon Dogman's bollocks was possibly Green Eyes. The flangy one was possibly Denny. But like you said, an erection was didn't have a wrench, which I couldn't see. So I've got no idea. I would have to say with that one, possibly Sheila. Sid Vicious, shout me if you've not been sussed. Yeah, let Sid know. We need to try and start working out who you all are. Right, I'm just trying to get this sorted, get my notes together, because I've still got the dog trying to jump around with the ball. I'm going to have to start shutting myself in the bedroom doing these lives because he just gets beyond silly. Now, I'm going to give you a little story about, when the ranch became named the Sherman Ranch, and it was owned, as I said before, by the couple called Terry and Gwen Sherman. Now, shortly six. Well, I like having him around, Sid, but he's as annoying as anything when I'm trying to be kind of semi-professional, and he is just pestering the life out of me with a ball, and I literally can't concentrate, and I'm trying to tell these stories. It's so irritating. Lie down, good boy. Right. Oh, did it again? Oh, it's doing it again, isn't it? Just as I start to talk about certain things. So,
Dogman is interfering with Wi-Fi.
yeah, well, everybody keeps reckoning that. Hello, welcome back, Julia. So, shortly after they'd bought this house and moved in, Terry and Gwen Sherman, they started seeing this, what they described as a fearsome animal that they thought was maybe a wolf or a coyote stalking their livestock. Now, on this particular occasion, it grabbed a calf in its jaws, and Terry shot it with a handgun and then a rifle. And despite being hit, the creature didn't seem hurt, and it just wandered away into the bushes. But it left the most awful smell after it, really foul stench, like rotting flesh. Now, in the weeks and months that followed this happening, visitors to the ranch reported seeing unidentifiable beasts moving in the woods and letting out all these different types of roars. And then on top of this, there were lights that were hovering and zipping around in the sky. There were large orange circles, blue spheres. These lights would fly around as if directed by unseen forces. And another real disturbing thing that was happening was animals on the ranch began to die in really grotesque ways. Some of the dogs were, well, when they found them the next day, they'd apparently been kind of incinerated overnight. Cows, as I mentioned before, they were found dismembered and clawed out with the kind of surgical precision that ruled out attacks by coyotes or wolves. A newspaper article about the Shermans' terrifying experiences attracted the notice of an unlikely party, and this was Robert Bigelow, who ended up purchasing the ranch. He was a billionaire property magnate. Now, as well as being a hard-headed businessman, he had a passion for space travel, and he was really interested in the paranormal. And he founded the National Institute for Discovery Science, which was effectively his own personal X-Files. Oh, are we doing it again? Has this only just started happening, Julia and Sid? This loss of sound again? Or has this been doing it right the way through? And if you can let me know, where it cut out from, because this is really, really weird. This did it the other night when I was doing Travis Walton. Obviously, doing Travis Walton's story. Sorry, that didn't sound right. God.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing this. So it's not done it all the time. We were having the laugh and a joke about the names and trying to find. It's just the minute I've started talking about this again, it started to cut out. I'll tell that little bit again about Robert Bigelow, just in case any of it was missed. So apologies if you did hear all this, but I don't need to miss this little bit. So a newspaper article about the Shermans' terrifying experiences attracted the notice of the billionaire property magnate Robert Bigelow. As well as being a hard-headed businessman, he had a passion for space travel and the paranormal. And he founded the National Institute for Discovery Science, which was effectively his own personal X-Files team. So because he was fascinated by this region and what was going on at Skinwalker Ranch, he bought it. And as I said before, he spent £200,000 purchasing the property. Oh, it's gone back to normal. That is the weirdest thing, isn't it? As soon as you said Skinwalker Ranch, it started weird. I know, Sid. I know. And it does it when I start talking about dogmen as well. If I'm about to tell a story on the dogmen, off it goes. So, let's get back into it. Now, oh, hang on a moment. I've just lost my space where I was talking. Now, the team that he brought to the ranch, they set up monitoring equipment. They put observation posts and round-the-clock surveillance because they were determined to find out what was going on here. Now, this activity, this triggered conspiracy theories among a lot of UFO watchers, which then led Bigelow to try and squash these rumours and conspiracy and what have you. He ended up giving an interview denying that he was in cahoots with the CIA or that he'd had any prior contact with aliens in Utah, because people were thinking he was like a bit of an alien buddy. Okay, now, what makes the story of the Skinwalker Ranch so remarkable? It's that all this curious phenomena that was, it carried on even under this intense scrutiny by Bigelow's research group, the NIDS. Now, researchers witnessed the same inexplicable lights that the Shermans had reported, Their equipment would mysteriously malfunction at critical moments, a bit like me tonight. There you go. That's like the hitchhiker phenomenon, isn't it? Wow. Just had a thought about that.
Let's go upstairs.
That's weird. Because that's exactly what the guy with the truck was saying. You know, if things were going on at Skinwalker, then they would start happening with his, you know, his truck would start playing up and he'd know that something was going on at the time. That's, yeah, that's a little bit freaky deaky. Now, there were cases of electronic equipment being physically mangled and shredded, you know, with wires ripped out, and nobody was responsible for doing it. They had no explanation for it, you know, like something had got into it. And some of these things, they were thinking it was maybe poltergeist activity. That was, you know, that was something else that was a possibility. They just didn't have a clue what was going on. Now, there was one of his investigators was a retired Army intelligence officer. His name was John Alexander. Now, he later said, he was interviewed, and he said a precognitive sentient intelligence was at work on the ranch, somehow predicting what the NIDS team were going to do next and scuppering their equipment accordingly. Now, the sheer number of incidents that are around Skinwalker Ranch, and added to that, the number of different eyewitnesses, and the general reputation of this part of northeast Utah, it's led many to take the case more seriously than, you know, more seriously than other UFO hotspots in the US. And plus, there's also the connection to Native American folklore that you've got to take into consideration. Because, as I said earlier, the very name Skinwalker Ranch, that alludes to one of the most feared entities in Navajo culture and history. You know, with these skinwalkers, these are the malevolent, I can never say that, malevolent witches. You know, they've mastered the ability to change into different creatures, and that hulking wolf-like beast that I mentioned before and that the Shermans were confronted by. Now, their description, it seems to resemble the large, the extinct dire wolf that used to prowl North America, as well as other creatures that the NIDS observers have seen. These have all been linked to legends of skinwalkers in the region. And funnily enough, there's a long-standing local legend that links the presence of skinwalkers to hostile relations between two Native American people, the Navajo and the Utes. And Sandra Jones, who's an historian, she said the Navajo were more aggressive people. They took slaves from the Ute people. And according to the local legend, a territorial dispute led to the Navajo cursing the land and unleashing skinwalkers there. So the basis for these legends are a little bit hazy. Just give me a second. Stop. Cooper, stop it. You was panicking your car with oh yeah, of course, when the lights were there, Julia. Yeah, because things, they drain energy, don't they? Like these guys have been saying, you know, the phones, they'll have like full batteries and then the phones will just drain, or, you know, a brand new car will just stop working, or equipment will be mangled, and there's no explanation for any of this stuff going on. Skinwalkers take over people's bodies. I don't think they do, Frida. I'm not an authority on this. You know, I don't know if Paul's still here, if he might know. Lady Witch, if Joe. Oh, I never thought about Joe. Joe could be one of our mystery people as well. But Joe Mardre, she knows a lot about things like this. As far as I'm aware, no. From what I understand, they are a particular person. That they have got the ability to shape shift, to become something else. Suppose it's a bit like the animagus from Harry Potter. It's that thing that can change at will. It's not like being a werewolf where a werewolf would bite you and then you would become a werewolf. I think a skinwalker is just a skinwalker. You No, I don't think they do, Mrs. Mercury. I think it's the choice of whichever whichever shaman or witch, for want of a better word, the particular animal that they've chosen. But it doesn't sound, these things on Skinwalker Ranch, although they have a similarity to, they aren't identical to known animals, the as I said, they've been described as, say, the dire wolf, or like an oversized, beefed up hyena, or they just look different, and which makes you think that they're possibly not of this realm. Now, whether that is a skill of the shaman to create a beast, a bit like, do you remember the elemental that we talked about at Lep Castle, which is a strange creature that's brought about by well, black magic, dark magic. So I don't really know. I'm not quite sold on what these things are at Skinwalker Ranch, because a lot of the time when people say they've seen a skinwalker, it is actually an animal, isn't it? I think they would become your particular fear pretty sharpish if you encountered one. Absolutely right, Sid. Now, again on here, if you take away, this these Native American feuds, if you will, for want of a better word, if we put those to one side, well, they called it Skinwalker Ranch because of the sightings of what they thought were skinwalkers in the area, Frida. And I think it is on old Navajo land, isn't it? Navajo Anuti land. But there's been a lot of speculation here about the alien activity and secret government experiments and involvement. Now, there's a team of experts since this Brandon bought the ranch. There is a team of experts who have, well, they are bringing in, or they have been bringing in some new types of searches and experiments, drone thermography and laser technology, just to try and examine the whole ranch in unprecedented detail, to see if they can actually find out and something that's been missed before. Like bent over skeletons. What do you mean? What do you mean for the skinwalkers, Julia? Because there is a picture, isn't there, on the internet that they claim is a skinwalker, and it just looks like somebody who is kind of bent over, but with the head on the wrong way round. Are any other ranches in the area being studied as well? I don't know, Lady Witch. I don't know. I do know that other ranches in the area have suffered the cattle mutilations. I don't think they're confined to Skinwalker Ranch. But I think the paranormal and the UFO activity seems to be focused over that land. But I do know that there have been mutilations. Now, Linda Moulton Howe has been studying these mutilations, but I don't know as far as paranormal or scientific research. I really don't know. It's like a big farm. Has anyone tried searching the ranch on Google Maps? I wonder if there's any cover-ups on there. Oh, no, I don't know. Do you know what? I wouldn't know. Sid, maybe you should be the person to do that one. See what comes up on Google Maps for Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah. Skinwalker.
Now, just find me other little stories for you. Oh, this dog. Seriously, you can't tire him out. It's just constant. Bring you his treat, walk away. Bring you his treat, walk away.
Skinwalker Ranch, but then a Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh. Now that's weird. Little in here has just done a Google Maps search and pulled it up, and there are actually 2 Skinwalker Ranches come up.
Because that's Utah, Salt Lake City, Denver. So it depends which one it's near.
That is very bizarre. Yeah, there are 2. It should be near. Hang on, what's the name of the place? I'm just having a look at this now. It is near Ballard in Utah. Ballard. It's southwest of a place called Ballard. How about do a search for Ballard in Utah? Nice one, Porklet. Oh, you're being called Porklet. Yeah, she's like, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what they were. Right, okay. Yeah, because I saw that photograph, Julia, online quite a while ago.
There's Ballard.
Okay. Do we have a Skinwalker Ranch with it?
No.
While she's looking at that, I shall carry on with this. Right, this is really weird. Ah, right, okay. I've got it now because they kept mentioning Gormans, okay? They kept saying about buying this ranch from the Gormans, and I've just done a little search on this. So there was the book, The Hunt for the Skinwalker, okay? It details the efforts by the National Institute of Discovery Science to study and document the strange activity on the ranch, as well as the accounts of Tom and Ellen Gorman, the pseudonyms used in Hunt for the Skinwalker, right, which is basically Terry and Gwen Sherman. Right, so when Bigelow, he bought the ranch from the Shermans in 96 to study it, but hired them to maintain the ranch, and they stayed there. Right, how are we doing? Okay.
Right, so that's weird.
What?
Because on the other one where I searched Ballard, it was literally up here.
Okay. And no Skinwalker.
And there's no Ballard, but there's Skinwalker.
Okay.
Skinwalker.
Ah. Right, that's really weird. I don't know if anybody else wants to try it, but we are finding Ballard, Utah, which is the nearest town. I mean, they're both in Utah, but they're just not the same place. There's like a Skinwalker. So there's
Oh,
somewhere. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on. What have you found?
that's Utah.
Yeah.
That's Colorado. That's New Mexico. And Las Vegas is there. So whether it's that one or that one.
Ah, okay. Right. Arizona. Yeah. That's so this is into Arizona, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. We think we know why. And it could, do you know what? It could just be the same one. It's just that it's because it's crossing into different states. Because there is a Skinwalker Ranch showing just over the border into Arizona. And then where's the Colorado?
This is the one in Arizona.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's Utah that we want. So yeah, it appears that there's another Skinwalker Ranch.
What does that stop sign say? Only authorized
Yeah,
personnel
that's the right
beyond
one.
this point.
Yeah, that's the right one. Right, that is very, very strange. There are two Skinwalker Ranches. I wonder if that's been done, because they're trying to keep people out. I was saying before that they've locked the roads off so people can't get in.
That's probably why they've put a building mark on that, because everyone will think, oh, it's not a building. So we'll go to that one.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if you heard that then. Very clever. Yeah. There's a building mark on the wrong one. Sounds to me like there's some deflection going on. Yes, Sid, because like she's just said then, there's a building marker on the one that there's not. It's just like in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? But the other one, if you look at them, there's two, one at the top of your page and one below. It's the one at the top is the actual Skinwalker Ranch.
God.
And yeah, so she's finding the photographs here now that have got, the cattle mutilations and so on. There's all sorts. It's really bad.
There's just a head.
Yeah.
Gee.
So it's a very, very freaky place. Now, so as I was saying before, when so it was because of what had happened to the Shermans was why Bigelow ended up initially buying the ranch. When they first moved in, they were surprised to discover that there were deadbolts on the inside and outside of the doors of the home. Even the windows were bolted. There was also a clause which surprised them in their real estate contract that stipulated there was to be no digging on the ranch without first notifying the previous owners. So this was for the Shermans when they first got it. So after they settled into the new home, this is when all these strange experiences started, including several cattle mutilations, and then was that massive wolf type thing that they saw, and then the large black objects which were hovering above the ranch, and the orange shapes, the blue shapes, and these blue orbs that killed 3 of the dogs. Now, why was there a clause in the real estate contract saying that if they were to do any digging on the land, they couldn't do it without first notifying the previous owners? Why? I can't even think why that would be relevant. Has anybody got any ideas? The only time I would think of that would be if there was, say, your own personal burial, like a family burial plot on there with no markers. I mean, which is odd in itself, but it could happen. And I do actually know. Oh gosh, this is the weirdest thing. I do actually know farmers who they had got permission and they buried. Well, it was a full family. So there was the mother and father, and then their son who lived with them, and he was getting on. The son, the mother died, and she was buried at the farm. Then the father died, and he was buried with her. And it's basically the lawn of the farmhouse, but they did have the legal permission to do it. But then they had no grave markers there, and then they sold up. So so that there would have been notification that there were actual bodies buried there, unless they had them exhumed. That would have been on the plot map, though. Well, you would think so, but yeah, that's what Julie was talking about, the Skinwalker picture.
Yeah.
So that really, locks and bolts on the outside and inside. I mean, I can understand them being on the inside, you're trying to keep people out, but putting them on the outside as well, as are you trying to keep something in? I mean, WTF? Notice I'm being quite good because I have a juvenile here. Although I will probably start off in a minute. And then they've had 3 dogs being killed. Now, when the NIDS team arrived to document what the Shermans were going through and basically all their accounts of this paranormal activity, that's when they started having their own experiences. And they'd see these lights moving with no known source. As I mentioned before, they had the destruction of the surveillance equipment, the cameras being trashed. But the bulk of the phenomena seem to continue to happen around the Shermans. And one question that is asked is, did anything happen there before the Shermans arrived on the ranch? Well, they bought it from the Myers in 1994, who had inherited it. This was a guy called Garth Myers. He had inherited it from his brother and sister-in-law, Kenneth and Edith Myers. And they had bought the ranch in the 1930s. By some accounts, in interviews, Garth Myers has denied that there was any sort of UFO activity on the property, while his brother and wife owned it. And he also disputes parts of the Sherman story, like the deadbolts and the digging claws. So, who can say? But while the Myers family might not have had experience of any of these strange phenomena, neighbours actually did. So here is a little bit of, what Lady Witch had asked. Has there been any other investigations there? Well, not to this extent, but obviously other properties in the close vicinity were experiencing similar things. Now, give me a second. Hang on, we found something here.
I've just gone on Google Maps again.
Yeah.
And you know how there wasn't a trace of it when I searched Ballard?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's weird.
There wasn't a single sign of it.
Oh wow. Hey, I tell you what, this is weird as well. Have you seen that? So you've got Skinwalker Ranch,
and they're both in the same
and
state
then
there.
the Skinwalker Ranch observation area.
And they're both in the same state there.
Yeah. Well, because they're both on the part of the same property. That is a bit nuts. So, go to some of the neighbours. So we've got one neighbour, John Garcia. He saw an orange object as large as a house floating past his fence before it shot up into the sky and zoomed away. Charles Wynne, he's another neighbour. He was out one night when he saw a bright light that he compared to an arc welder. It was white and bright, but not hot. The light came for him, and he was fearing for his life, so he dropped into a ditch full of water and covered his head with his arms. Now, other people who live in the area saw the orbs in the sky, blue on the outside and orange at the centre, and these were giving off slow sparks. Just very, very weird, very, very weird. And Skinwalker Ranch, this was part of the Ute tribe's ancestral hunting grounds before the US government relegated them to the reservation. And then opened up the area to the European ranchers. Now, I'm just struggling to find where I'm up to here because my eyes are killing me. So apparently they've seen everything from daylight to nighttime. Extreme electromagnetic anomalies, equipment malfunctions, damage to acute medical episodes. Oh, there was what? Sorry, I repeated that from before. Now, this is the bit about the Porklet is a great help as a researcher. Yes, I know. Is he being sick? I think the dog's just gaffed up. Ugh. Now, in 2017, the New York Times, they broke a story on a multi-million-dollar advanced aerospace threat identification program. All right, which was in the Pentagon's budget. Now, as far as we know, since 2007, the program investigated reports of unidentified flying objects. Funding for the program reportedly ended in 2012, and most of the money was handed to none other than Robert Bigelow, the one-time owner of Skinwalker Ranch. Go figure that one. Now, Bigelow really does believe that aliens exist and that they're visiting Earth. You know, he's not a skeptic by any stretch of the imagination. He believes in it. He wants to find them. He wants to have the contact, you know, and he's done everything he could. But yeah, I mean, they've had a lot of experience. They've had a lot of things that they've found. Oh, you have to, excuse me a second. No, no, sweetheart. No. Do you want to come the horses in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not up by 5:05.
5:05, I'll give you a knock.
Okay.
All right, darling. Night, night. Right, we're on our own. We don't have a researcher. We're going to struggle. Now, this was something quite interesting that was found as well when we're talking about the, you know, Pentagon involvement. In 1947, the US Air Force began looking into upwards of 12,000 sightings before they officially ended the project 2 decades later. The project concluded that most sightings had mundane explanations like clouds, conventional aircraft, or spy planes. But out of all of those 701 sightings, they were never able to debunk or explain 701. Bigelow sold it. I think because of the phenomenon, and he obviously won't ever set foot on there again. I think he'd had some real scary issues that were going on, and because he'd already been searching for 20 years, you know, 20 years of investigation wasn't getting any further. No weather balloons, no Sid, apparently not. You know, and I'm just trying to break this down for us. I had some notes here on a couple of the people, and I can't find the damn thing now. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, I'm really sorry, guys. I've lost my damn... Oh, I've lost my notes. Bugger. Oh, we're going to... Yeah, I'm absolutely useless, aren't I? This is when I save them, because I'm using this really crappy tablet. Because I don't like doing stuff on... Well, I shouldn't really, on my work laptop. So, you know, when I had all my notes the other night, and oh, somebody going to, oh, was that for little baby porklet? Are you on a bit of a delay there, Julia? A skinwalker jumped through a portal and nicked him. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Anything to stop me telling my story. I mean, I don't know what I make of it. You know, it's a bit like you get these particular areas around the planet and they've got a lot of energy. You know, we were talking a while ago about granite fields, boulder fields and things. And I think it was Joe Mardre and I were on about them and we were saying that, you know, there's a vibration, there's a bit of a buzz of energy that comes from like granite. And there are places like this. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry, that was a yawn that came on from nowhere. Places like this all over the world, you know, certain areas they've got, you know, whether it's electromagnetic fields or whether it's something coming from under the earth, I really don't know. Um, but there's really high energy. And maybe Skinwalker is one of these places. Maybe these high energy areas attract phenomena rather than, you know, or they cause it rather than attract it. I really don't know. Skinwalker's just got me completely baffled. Usually I'll have, you know, I'll try and get an idea and I'll think about things and think, oh, maybe this, maybe that. But it's so different because usually you will have somewhere that has got a phenomena. So you'll either have a haunted ranch or you could have a ranch that's having poltergeist activity, or you can have a ranch that is seeing UFOs, or there's a dog man, or there's Bigfoot, or the Shadow Man, or but Skinwalker has got everything. It's like everything negative and scary and paranormal is all manifesting in this one spot. And I genuinely haven't got a clue why. Um, you know, I mean, they've tried to debunk this. I think it was the historian um, from the Ute tribe who just said, you know, that they know nothing about a Navajo curse on the land. You know, even though things change, you know, when they're told and they pass from mouth to mouth over the years, but you know that there, you think the bony ones are one type of an alien. They're weird, them things, Julia. And it's when you watch videos and you see, I mean, I watched one the other night and it shows what I swear to God, it's an alien. A little in broad daylight comes into a fella's house. Actually comes into the house. There's some ladders. They've been doing some decorating. The CCTV in the house caught it. Goes up the ladder. Just been absolutely bananas. Yeah, a lot of places like that on the Bermuda Triangle is one. Yes, there is, Frida. There is. And it's like, here, we were talking about this before while we were having dinner. You know, you start talking about because there was an Elvis lookalike. I think he must have been an Elvis tribute act in the same place that we were eating. We were having a bit of a giggle because when he left, I was going, and Elvis left the building. Um, and we were talking about different things, like, you know, these stories about his Elvis didn't die and um, you know, weird things like that. And then I said, one of the things that's always fascinated me, which will mean more to people in the UK because of where it occurred, was the Glenn Miller when he disappeared. Because that to me was very Bermuda Triangle-esque, wasn't it? I mean, he disappeared flying from the south coast of England over to France on a boat. You know, it's only 20 miles. You know, it's literally a puddle jump on a plane, yet it vanished and it's never been found. Tell me how that has never been found in the English Channel. That to me is like he went through a portal into another dimension. Go back to the pyramids. They generate energy fields and frequencies and stuff. Astrological connection between the ranch and the pyramids and stone. Yeah, very, very probably, Sid. There's something there, and I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it. Because every time, I have little thoughts, and every time I have a thought, but then there's some other phenomena that just won't fit into what I've been thinking. I just was going to ask them, Frida, as well. I meant to ask at the start of this because obviously I didn't know who you were at the time. Was everything okay? Because I noticed did you lose connection last night or nod off or not last night, the other night? Because I noticed you'd just gone, and when I was saying goodbye to everyone, and I thought, oh, I hope you weren't on a mad delay, and thought we'd all just gone off and left you, because I did say goodnight to you if you were still there, but I was a bit worried about you because you'd vanished. Oh my goodness. I have just found a drawing that Porklet has done. Every time you mention phenomenon, I want to say, do you know what, Sid? I usually do that. Porky will say phenomenon. I go, do, do, be, do, do. Phenomena, do, 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 do. Phenomena, do, do, be, do, be. Who sang that? Come here, Cooper, calm down now. You're getting way too excited and there is no need for it. Okay? There's no need for it. Stay calm. Come on, stay calm. Good boy. Yeah, Julie. Do, 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 do. But yeah, sorry. Oh, is it the Muppets? Okay. Yeah, she's done a drawing. She must have done this while I've been doing my stream. She's done about a dogman. It's quite funny. She's put things like loads of quotes, like ears at least 8 inches tall. Monster, I'm gonna die. It smiled at me. I was shaking. It towered over me. It looked half dog, half man. Monster of men. Oh, right, Fried. Okay. Your daughter rung you. Oh, it was just because, you're always there. And I was like, it was only afterwards. And I was thinking, I really hope you're all right. I worry about people, if they suddenly vanish, like Green Eyes suddenly vanished. But obviously Green Eyes has got a mum around. So, the other night. So, but yeah, so sorry, it wasn't being nosy, but yeah, I was just a little concerned because I thought it's out of character for you to just vanish. So as long as you're all right. So yeah, I might use this this drawing that she's done for my next Dogman. My next Dogman upload. So we've got 3 people who never reveal themselves, which I think is a pretty poor show, actually. Definitely a pretty poor show. So, I mean, I don't know which of these phenomena are connected. I would say, if I had to guess, if I was to make an educated guess, I would say definitely the cattle mutilations and the UFO sightings. I think they're definitely linked. I don't think that these strange beasts, wolf type things, have anything to do with the cattle mutilations, because the mutilations are always done, they are very surgical. There's no tearings of or anything like that. It looks like precision laser cutting. There's no blood loss. It's like all the blood's been, taken prior to these incisions being made. I think these strange beasts are a bit standalone. Julie Josby, duh, 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 doodaloo. Believe me, because I can write music. I think you missed out a few dudders though, Sid, didn't you? Do 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 do. Maybe, but then again, I don't write music. I'll tell you what I found, which shows I don't know me onions, but when I was trying to get, which we still are going to do, you did, but this is a remix. You're very quick the night, aren't you? Oh, good grief. Yeah, when I was trying to get Porky to, to do his song, because Sheila had asked him, Frida and what have you, and people wanted me to get him to do a song. And I was saying, can you sing this? Can you sing this? And he was like, well, I'll have to, because I don't know if I told you, but when he came out of the army, he did start to sing kind of professionally, really. And when because to me, you just sing. It's just like you have a song and you sing it. But he was like, no, he'd have to study the song and then work out the timing and the breathing. And I was like, eh? You have to do that? And he's like, yeah. It's like, really? You don't just sing a song? He is, Frida. He's very on the ball. Oh, dear me. Everybody's a damn comedian. So yeah, it's things that the layperson like myself wouldn't know. So yeah, so I don't know what you guys think of Skinwalker. Do you believe it? Do you think it's a real thing? Um, has anybody? Oh, actually, did anybody? I was just going to say, has anybody watched the movie on Skinwalker? And then it reminded me, did any of you manage to catch or watch Fire in the Sky from the other night, or get chance to watch or read up on any more of the Travis Walton stuff after our live? Because I went back when I was in bed and I went back onto the Art Bell and had a listen to that podcast, the link that I dropped in for everybody. And I'm trying to come up with a topic for my next live. And I don't know if anybody's got any suggestions, if there's anything in particular that you might like us all to cover. I mean, I don't mind just doing general chatting shizzle. I'm not a big believer of things that transform from human into beast, to be honest. Werewolves the same. Not yet, it's on the list. Fire in the Sky sounds really familiar, though. I wouldn't be surprised, Lady Witch, if you've watched it. I mean, it was out in 1993, I think. So we're talking, it's almost a 30-year-old film. So I would expect, people may have actually seen it and not realised, so a film that's been out that long, it's bound to have been on the telly at some point. Although I only watched it, probably about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Oh, it might be slightly longer. And the only reason I watched it, because I'd never heard of Travis Walton. And this was my cousin who's over in America. And he was telling me about all these different things. And he's the guy who put me on, the strange animal killings in Kansas, like the Dogman stuff, because he's in Kansas, he's in Wichita in Kansas. But he said, and like I said, this was probably, I'm actually going to hazard a guess and say we'll go for 5 years ago. It was no longer than that. And he said, have you ever heard of Travis Walton? And I went, nah. He said, right, watch this film, see if you can get it, Fire in the Sky. Um, and I forgot all about it because I was thinking, oh, it doesn't sound like my kind of thing. And then it was a couple of years later, and he happened to bring it up again. And he said, did you ever watch that film? And I went, no. And he sent me the link. He went, do it tonight now. Go and watch it. Because I think we were chatting on, I think we might have been on Twitter or something at the time. He said, promise me when you go offline and you'll watch it. And I did. And I was like, whoa. So, and I think the guy who plays Mike in it, I'm sure it's the guy who was in Terminator 2. How about looking to the Bermuda Triangle for alive mysterious disappearances, Malaysia Airlines, etc.? Yeah, yes, Sid. Sounds like a good one. I mean, the Malaysia Airlines, and like I was just saying, Glenn Miller. I mean, what? How is that in 70 years? How have they never found a trace of that aircraft or him or any of the crew, anybody? How have they never found it? Weird, but I went downstairs and my husband had just watched it. What, Fire in the Sky, Julia? No way. That's bizarre. Did he enjoy it? And what were you, did you say, oh my God, we've just been talking about this on a live? Oh, I'm glad at least you know you can get hold of it then. But yeah, it's a bit, it is a little bit freaky. A little bit freaky. Um, there's also I've got some weird. Oh, sorry. I think you can get Fire in the Sky on Prime, but you have to pay for it. Maybe free on YouTube, but my son will get it for me free. Oh, brilliant, Frida. Brilliant. I know that I definitely, at the time I watched it, it was, but they take them down, don't they? But it was definitely on YouTube when I watched it, and I didn't pay for it. I wonder if it's on, because IMDb have got a channel as well, haven't they, where all the films are free? Because I've watched a few, well, I've watched some good ones on there. Barry Manilow, yeah. My mum used to like that song. I can remember her singing it. I think it was because my dad didn't. Because my dad, well, my dad, you'd have liked him. My dad loved the Sex Pistols, absolutely loved them, and got into a lot of trouble with my mum for not making sure children were not around when he was playing his Sex Pistol albums, Home on Leave. And when you've got a couple of little uns dancing round singing frigging in the rigging, it's not particularly good. But yeah, he loved the Sex Pistols, and what was the other one? The Buzzcocks, and as he got older, hiya Sam, how are you doing, chicken? Sorry, tonight's been a little bit hit and miss because I've had Cooper going manic and we've had Porky's daughter helping us. She's been the researcher tonight. And I've been having to watch my P's and Q's because she's 12. So I've been trying not to swear. But yeah, we've had quite a few names. We've got 3 names that we didn't guess because everybody came in as Incognito. I mean, I still need to finish off my Viking stuff because I only got halfway around the British Isles. Damn it. But I've just started watching the latest season of the Last Kingdom. I don't know how many of you watch that. I know Frida does, don't you, Frida? And I think Simples. Was it you two I got to watch that? I think so. And I'd put it off because I thought I'll leave watching it until I'm really bored and I've got nothing to watch. Um, but I think that will because I'd really like to go to Bamborough Castle at some point. Yes, there's a room down because he's disabled. He asked what I was doing, told him. He said, it was just ending. Flipping heck. Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? That is weird. I mean, yeah, like I said, with the Malaysian Airlines, so we've got the Malaysian Airlines thing disappeared. What was that? Do you remember there is now was it in Russia? Was it some Mongolia, somewhere like was it the Gobi Desert and a boat appeared just in the desert? I think there were like herdsmen walking across it, and there was suddenly just a boat there, like rusted and corroded, like it's been there forever. Find time, I think you'd like Stranger Things. There's a new season soon. Well, Porky and Porklet, they both are into Stranger Things. They keep telling me I've got to get watching it. Yeah, there's the tune. Bermuda Triangle, it makes people disappear. The Bermuda Triangle, don't go too near, don't go too near. If that was the same tune. Yeah, I just remember my mum used to play it just to piss me dad off because my dad's the hardcore punk aficionado and my mum's playing Barry Manilow just to piss him off. But yeah, Sid, sorry, when I was talking about what my dad liked for music, and as he got older, but he was still a young man, but as he got older, he then really got into because I mean they weren't punk, but the Sisters of Mercy. He loved the Sisters of Mercy. And I must admit, their Temple of Love, that I love that song. That has got to be one of my favourites. Really love it. The extended version, obviously. But yeah, my dad was a bit of a punk lad. Yeah, he's well, my dad always said if he hadn't been in the army, he would have had a mohawk. But obviously he couldn't have a Mohican dyed, pink and blue and whatever other wonderful colour and loads of piercings. He couldn't do any of that. So, but he would have. He definitely would have. The Mission. I've heard of them, but I can't put my finger on the name of a song, Sid. But obviously, I do know, the Sisters of Mercy. You could hide it under his bed. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Stranglers. Oh, what was the other one? Um, oh, I'm trying to think. There was another song my dad used to play. They weren't. I wouldn't class them as punk. The Cult. She Sells Sanctuary. The intro to that is unreal, isn't it? Well, I think it's unreal. There are a few songs that I absolutely adore the intros to. Oh, seeing the Stranglers in Blackpool in August, Sid. Wow. Yeah, so I go from one extreme to the other. So you've got the intro to She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult, and I love that. Absolutely love that intro. But then I love the intro to This Charming Man by the Smiths. You know, I think they're absolutely brilliant. My mate Billy Duffy in the cut. Really? Wow, Sid. Oh, is he? See, one of our local, the pub that I used to work in, local lad there was John Salisbury, who was the drummer with the Verve. So it was like a big thing, claim to fame for that little tiny village. You know, even years later, it used to be you know, the closing down song in the pub. Does he? Well, I'll tell you, would you like a little bit of yeah, Me Too Simples, the cult are brilliant. You see, I a lot of groups that were out of my era, but I picked up, you know, because of my dad loving them, and I think that's why I like everything, because I used to sit with my nan and granddad and listen to swing and stuff. So I love things like Glenn Miller. I adore Frank Sinatra, but then I'll be playing like Viking death metal, like I said the other day. Then you've got the Cult, Sisters of Mercy. Um, I do like the Sex Pistols Roadrunner because it makes me laugh that at the beginning of it. Because Sid can't remember the words to it. Well, here's a little thing. Oh, simple. Oh, we'll be all right though when we come for you, Tony Bennett. Yeah, well, oh, isn't he who did? Was it? Hang on a minute. Was it Tony Bennett who sang "Wives and Lovers"? Have I got that wrong? Probably somebody else, isn't it? But yeah, I just like I like everything. I love music, and then I love opera. I mean, I took my friends to an because if there are operas on, I will go. My favourite opera is Tosca, and La Traviata. And everybody looks at me and goes, "You like opera?" Because they've just listened to me playing like thrash metal or something. Yeah, oh, I can't remember that. How does the song go now? And you'll probably know it. I'll butcher it again, but let me think. I've just got to get myself in the right frame of mind to remember the tune. Um, I think is it something like, hey, little girl, better wear something pretty, something you wear to and go to the city and dim all the lights, pour the wine, start the music. Time to get ready for love. That's the one I'm thinking of. I'm sure it's called like Wives and Lovers. I was thinking Tony Bennett, but it might not be. My son wanted to look in the pram to see if baby's hair was a coloured Mohican, as both parents did in the 80s. Oh, bless him. Stand up and fight until you hear the bell. Oh, sorry, Mr. Mercury, sorry, going off topic, but would you consider doing a live about the history of Colorado? Because so many terrible things seem to happen there more than other states. Is the land cursed? Oh, you know the song? Yeah, Sid, I'll have to look up who's done that one then now. Um, yeah, I could do Mrs. Mercury. Um, the only thing is with that, um, I mean, I don't know. I don't think because obviously it's a totally different a different thing. You know, it'd just be a one off live. But um, although it was before I joined a channel, I do remember recently that Bam was saying that she was going to do. I mean, Lady Witch, are you still in here? I'm sure that Bam had said she was going to do a series called Creepy in Colorado, and I think that was looking at similar things like that. And then Shitlord nicked her idea, and he'd announced he was going to do this Creepy in Colorado, um, So then Bam pulled it, and she was really upset about it, and has never done it, since, because of what he did. Um, so I'd be, although yes, I would love to do it. I wouldn't want to, because that was something that Bam was going to do, and even though it was before I was around, and I'm sure that Lady Witch can confirm that. Yeah, and I just think that it would be Mrs. Mercury. I think it would be a bit. Um, it, it's only how I'm thinking, but I think it wouldn't be very loyal of me, or very tactful if I were to do something on Colorado. As much as, yeah, I agree, there's a shitload of stuff going on there. And we've covered quite a few things that have happened in Colorado. Um, oh, right, I didn't know was it just the crimes that she was covering then? Lady Witch and Sid and Mrs. Mercury. I don't, because if it's just about the history, it's just because I heard her saying creepy in Colorado, so I thought that maybe she was covering like creepy things. Um, but yeah, if it was just about, if it was about the land and the history, and that wasn't something that was part of what Bam was doing, then yeah, I'd be happy to. Um, but yeah, if somebody could confirm that or what have you, or if I don't know, Lady Witch, if you speak to Bam at all on the phone over the next couple of days, if you mention what Mrs. Mercury said, because I'd be happy to talk about the land and the history and weird things. But if it's anything that would have been part of Bam's content, just knowing how upset she was over that, then I would have to say no if it was likely to be part of the same stuff. Um, because I know we're completely different channels, and it was about all things creepy, not just the crimes, but the way Colorado is a hotspot for weird. Yeah, yeah. I think possibly then it would be something I wouldn't do. Like I said, she probably wouldn't be bothered, because I'm like a teeny little channel, and we're all pals anyway. Um, but yeah, it sounds as though it was very similar, Mrs. Mercury. So I probably would want to shy away from doing that. It's a shame, really, but yeah, no, because I'd be really pissed off if I'd announced that I was going to do, right, I'm going to do my Vikings thing, and I'm going to do Vikings because I still need to do this one yet, don't I, in the northeast of England, and then somebody that I sub to and who subs to me then announced that they were going to do a thing about Vikings in the northeast. I'd get my arse out as well. So yeah, I don't want to cause any bad feeling with anybody, if that's okay. Yeah, it is a very, very weird place though, and obviously, and our own Paul, the lovely Paul who's been in tonight. If I don't know if he's still here or not, but he's from Colorado, isn't he, as well? But I'm happy to do something on the strange places like the Bermuda Triangle. Have a look round and try and pick some certain, different spots similar, because there are quite a few. There's the India Triangle as well. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Mrs. Mercury. No, because it's a really good idea to do, and I've thought that for a while. I was just glad that I was in the live when I heard, because I must admit it was a couple of months ago, and I was thinking about because of the Colorado thing, I actually thought myself, oh, wouldn't mind, maybe should cover, because I think people have been mentioning it's always Colorado, isn't it? This happens in Colorado, that happens. And then I happened to be in one of Bam's lives, and she mentioned that, and I was like, whoa, shit, I'm really glad I didn't cover it now. Because I honestly didn't know, because as I said, it was before I was part of Bam's channel. But yeah, there might be simples. I honestly don't know. There's supposed to be a bunker or tunnels or something. Oh, hang on. Where's this? Oh, the airport. Colorado airport. Yeah, isn't that it's supposed to be one of those FEMA places, isn't it? Maybe Lady Witch knows that bit. Um you know how they say they've got all these places and you know a lot of the shopping malls are these and Colorado airport I heard was one of them, yeah. The another one that I really like is, have you heard about the lost girl, the Nazi treasures? And the train that set off from Berlin, loaded with the Nazi gold, you know, plundered treasures and all the Nazi gold, and just vanished. Nobody knows where it is, and there've been people trying to find it. And I think at the last count, apparently somebody thought that it was in Poland. You know, that there were trunk lines coming off the main train lines, that they think this train loaded up with the Nazi gold were driven into and then sealed, and potentially even the train drivers who knew the locations were killed so that they would never be able to reveal where the gold ended up. Things like that. I love mysteries like that. Um, you know, really interesting stuff. And one of the places that I also went round that I found fascinating, probably went through Manchester. Yeah, either Manchester or Liverpool, Sid. Either way, it wasn't getting out alive. Yeah, one of the places I went to were the catacombs in Palermo in Sicily. Now, that is a weird effing place. And there is a little girl in a coffin. I think she was buried in like the 1800s. She looks like she's only been in this glass-topped coffin for, you know, a few days. Weird, weird places. Um, yeah, there's all sorts. There's another place that fascinates me is Vlad Tepes's castle. Yeah, that's right, Mrs. Mercury. Well, and there are quite a few, aren't there? The other ones like Saint Bernadette, she's Um, one of the popes. Was it John Paul II? Oh, I can't remember who it was. Or it might have been Pope Pius. One of the popes as well, incorruptible. Um, there's another saint from. Oh, I think it's something like the um oh gosh, like the 8 or 900s, who's still looking as fresh-ish as a daisy. Absolutely bizarre. Um, love to see what's in the vaults of the Vatican. Oh, Frida, so would I. So would I. Another thing that fascinates me as well. Um, yeah, yes, Mrs. Mercury. Yeah, there is. There is. Another thing that also fascinates me is the Turin Shroud. Um, because that has been proven debunked, proven debunked. It's just it's constant, isn't it? And I am absolutely convinced now that that is 100% authentic. Whether it was a man called Jesus who rose from the dead, I know not. But I do believe that it's from the right era. I do believe it isn't a forgery. I do believe that all the marks in it are consistent with, you know, a scourging, crowning with thorns, a crucifixion. Um, yes, Sid, they do. It's constant. It just goes round and round and round. The last one was that chap who I think they called it God's Blueprint. I think that's what it was called. Um, and when you try to make a 3D image from something that you've painted, so like say I painted a face and I painted on shading and what have you, it's never ever going to look, when you then try to put it into a computer and map it and get it to produce the undulations of a, a 3D image, it's never ever going to look 100% 3D, because it's been done by hand, isn't it? And the shading, it's never ever going to look correct. So they were showing examples of this where somebody would, very gifted artist would try to get it as close as, damn it, as the original. Then they'd try to 3D map it. It would never be perfect. However, they then tried to 3D the Turin shroud, and it came up absolutely perfectly. And that is what they used to give you the, the face of, if you will, the face of Christ. And that chap, like I said, I think he was an atheist, definitely wasn't a Catholic. I think he was an atheist, or at the very least, he was an agnostic. And when he did the reconstruction, because they even got it down to checking where the blood flow from the injuries, um, the way that the undulations and so on. Um, he was in tears. He was so choked up, saying what this person, whoever he was, the injuries, the torture that this person suffered was just, you can't even think about it. And after I watched that film, The Passion of the Christ, I'll never be able to watch it again. I would love to, but I know I can't, because it shattered me, that film. It absolutely traumatized and shattered me to see what somebody was put through, what the Romans, and it wasn't just, Jesus, if he was a real person. It wasn't just him. They did this to people from all walks of life. Absolutely barbaric. I think it's fate, because if you lay a piece of cloth on your face, it would appear wider than the image on the shroud. Well, it would, but they reckon that this was caused by radiation of some sort. It wasn't just that it was an imprint of sweat or what have you, that it was some form of internal radiation that burned the image on the cloth. And that's why it comes out as perfectly 3D. It's weird how they explained it, Mrs. Mercury, but I understood it, and I thought, yeah, it was really interesting. But yeah, God, I could talk about the Turin shroud forever, and what happened. I loved it. Um, and I'll tell you a little, well, what we consider to be a bit of a miracle. This is why my family get really pissed off at me when I say, nah, I'm a pagan, thank you very much, because I don't know if there are any Catholics in the house. Don't worry, because we don't care what people are or what people are not. But if there are any Catholics in the house, um, or anybody else, have you heard of a man called Padre Pio? There's a mysterious church in Scotland called Rosslyn. Yeah, I've been to Rosslyn Chapel, said loads of symbols and carvings and stuff. I went once, but there was nobody there to give a tour, so I'm going to go back. Yeah, definitely go back, Sid. Yeah, it's a Templar church, isn't it, Rosslyn? And it's Rosslyn Chapel that was featured in the Da Vinci Code at the end, because they're saying it was called Rosslyn, as in Rose Line. It was on the one of the Rose lines running through from Fan. Yeah, Padre Pio. He was intriguing. He suffered from the stigmata, all of his adult life, and there were pilgrims went to see Padre Pio. Um, all sorts of things. And when he died, they're obviously trying to get him beatified. They want to get him made a saint. And people would pray to Padre Pio. There were Padre Pio prayer groups in, churches all over the world. And if ever these prayer groups were praying for anyone in particular, and a particular miracle could be, something miraculous happened as a result of the prayers to Padre Pio, to intercede for them, on their behalf, then they would notify the Vatican. And quite a few years ago, God, I'm going to totally dox my whole family now, but quite a few years ago, my dad was diagnosed with stomach cancer. This is the truth. This is on the dog's life, my life, you know. And he was diagnosed with stomach cancer, and it was bad. It was bad. They were operating. It was spreading. They operated. They gave him treatment. He wasn't responding to treatment. It was spreading to the extent that they said, "There's now nothing we can do. There's now nothing that we can do." And my dad was resigned to, this is it, this is the end, and he's going to die. And he made his peace with everybody, and he was in hospital, and he was in a really bad way this particular night. The pain was very bad. He was on high doses of morphine. I just had to pause for a minute then because I got a little bit upset thinking about what was happening. But anyway, the family were told that he was not going to make it. Basically, this was it, and we needed to. Anybody who needed to come and see him needed to come and see him within the next, day. And if we wanted a priest in, we should get him to come in sooner rather than later to give my dad the last rites, which we did. And then my grandmother, my dad's mum, she was, well, yes and no, Mrs. Mercury, because this is quite a good ending, but it just choked me up a bit then thinking about this happening. Very, very, very religious. Both sides of the family were, staunch Catholics, even though the Norwegian side are, into all the paganism as well, but staunch Catholics. And so his mum and her friends from church, they had a Padre Pio prayer group, and they sat by his bedside praying to Padre Pio to intercede on my dad's behalf. And they did shifts on his bed. Nobody was away from him. This included a priest. There were 3 priests that were coming and basically sitting shifts with these prayer groups. They sat with him for over 24 hours, praying constantly. And on the second day, my dad, who had been slipping in and out of a coma, was sitting up and talking and eating and laughing. And we were all like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And he, people were thinking at first, you get that sometimes when people are about to die, they kind of get that flush to the skin, and you think that they're getting better where they're actually not, that death flush. And so I'm thinking like, no, he's getting that just before he dies kind of rush of life again. And no, it wasn't that. And he just kept getting stronger. And then and this is, as I said, on my life, then the doctors are all really confused, and they're thinking maybe it was delayed reaction to all of the chemo, radio, everything, all the different treatments that he'd been having. And he just started recovering. And when the power of positive, I know, Sid, this I can't explain this. Yes, Frida, whoever you pray to, I think it's positive thoughts. Yeah, but Julia, get this. He was just getting better and better. I know you're on a bit of a delay though, love, so obviously you've not heard the full story as yet. But then he had some more scans, and the stomach tumour that was inoperable, that they'd said there was nothing more that they could do. Because of where it was as well, and the particular location of this tumour, and it just meant the location, the size meant it was inoperable. It was shrinking. Now, the doctors put it down to, like I said, delayed reaction to the chemo and the radiotherapy that he'd been having, and, you know, medications and you name it, he'd had it. And a professional that he knows, so it wasn't a doctor that was treating him, had just went, no, 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 that doesn't happen. That it either works or it doesn't work. It doesn't get to the point where you're about to die and then start to work. So this was now, this is over 20 years ago. My dad is now 72 years old, living his best life. Yes, he still has some residual problems, but the tumour that was in his stomach is now not there anymore. So that Padre Pio prayer group put all the evidence together, and I don't know which, whether it was his own priest or my grandmother's priest or what have you, and they got all documentation, the medical records, and they all went off and were sent to the Vatican. Now, I've never heard anything since. My dad doesn't really talk about it anymore, but yeah, and that was all on you know, as evidence towards Padre Pio being made a saint. You know, and it, not just on my dad's, you know, there are lots of these things happening all over the world. But yeah, that was just my little tale about Padre Pio. I just found it fascinating. You know, and when things like that happen, yeah, I might think, no, it just sounds a little bit, yeah, it sounds a little bit weird. I don't believe in Padre Pio, but like Sid's just said then, a big believer in vibrations and frequencies and total belief in the cosmos and what have you. Yeah. Well, do you remember when we were all in here one night? I can't remember who we were all sending positive thoughts for. Somebody wasn't well, and we dropped everything, and I was asking everybody to send positive thought. Oh, I know who it was. It was to Blue Rose. It was to Blue Rose. If you remember, her mum was dying, and we stopped, and we all were sending her positive thoughts that her mum would pass peacefully, and, you know, because it was looking like it wasn't going to be a nice ending. And yeah, you know, we all jumped in with the power of positive thought, and the fact that we all wanted to, you know, wanted to send these positive thoughts over. And we've done it all for Paul. Do you remember for Paul's sister? Everybody sending just positive thoughts. And I think when you get a group of people who are all, like Sid says, you can get on the same frequency with the same positive thought, and it's all directed at this, in, you know, it's all sent in the same direction. I always think of like a, do you remember I was saying, you think of a beam of white light, and you're shooting that white light from your head with every bit of positivity and goodness and strength straight towards whoever it is that you want to receive it. You do that as a group, only good things are going to happen. And I think it's the same with prayer. You know, no matter who you're praying to, which God or deity or what have you, you know, if you're all on that same wavelength, sending the positive thoughts, it's like chanting, isn't it? Buddhists chant, and yeah, yeah, it was Julia. It's just it's very freaky. You know, I tell some people that story and they go, yeah, right, whatever. But I'm as skeptical as the next person, you know, in organized religion. But yeah, so that's yeah. So if ever anybody wants to look at a big list of cases for Padre Pio's beatification that was sent to the that were that was sent to the Vatican, and you'll see that there was a chap there with stomach cancer, and his name, that's me dad. Oh, Shine, I better plug myself in. I'm going flat before I. That's really weird. Do you know, while I was talking about that, then I have plummeted from 20% to 2. Right, get myself plugged in. Okay. We should be all right now, and I won't get cut off. Now, I just noticed I just had one of my, I don't usually get notifications, and one has just popped up for genetic code is going to be going live shortly. So, let me just see. No, it's only just come through, and it said she's going live in 30 minutes. So I'll wind this up before then, because I know I got that right. Is it Tai Chi? I'm sure that's what my dad does. It's the battle movements, isn't it? Like the martial art, but it's just all these movements, but they're actually battle moves. He does that even now. He gets up no matter what the weather is, no matter what time of year it is. I mean, obviously he's recovering from his heart attack, but I mean, that's 2 heart attacks he's had as well. So he's had basically he's had terminal stomach cancer. He's had 2 massive heart attacks. He's had a DVT, and he's still here. But yeah, no matter what the year, what the weather, 4 a.m, he's on the beach doing Tai Chi. Mentalist. What do you think the third prophecy of Fatima is? Do you know what? I think that is end times, Mrs. Mercury, which is why I think they didn't release it, because it had just caused panic. That's what I personally think. Now, end of days, whether that is the coming of if you want to call it the Antichrist, whether it's a World War III, whether it's a meteorite hitting us, but I think it's I think the third prophecy is connected to the end of days. I don't know. What do you think? I love JC because the time difference, I always miss her lives. I know, me too. And I'll be honest with you, I'm probably not going to stay up for it because I've got quite a long day tomorrow. I need to get a shower as well yet. But if I am not fast asleep, I shall nip into her live and at least say hello. But yeah, it's well, if I don't hear from if I don't hear from Denny, because obviously Uncle P wants to come and do another a shizzle chatting live. And I've just got to wait to hear from Denny. That could possibly be Sunday night. If not, I'll do, because like I said, I want to get back to doing me 3 lives a week and different things, and I'd need to do me Viking stuff. But if not, I can try and look at doing some Bermuda Triangle stuff maybe on Monday. As you think it could be a change in the way the world is run. Oh, sorry. Do you think it could be a change to the way? I'm not sure, Mrs. Mercury. I've always felt. Oh, have I disappeared again, Frida? Oh, you had a half hour on Salties last night, and JC was proper stoned and dead funny. Oh, I don't know what's going on with this internet. It must be when I talk about certain things, isn't it? And yeah, and I whiz away. New World Order. Yeah, it could be. It could be. My brother's a big believer in the New World Order. But then again, he also talks about fucking lizard people. So I don't know what. But yeah, so if I don't know, as I said, I don't know if I'm coming on Sunday night, but I'll always put mine up in advance. I'll very rarely do them where I just pop online. Only because, with this being a small channel, it's better that I give people a bit of notice. The bigger channels, because you've got so many people, there's always somebody around, isn't there, who notices that you go online. No, it appears to be every time I talk about certain topics, Lady Witch, I appear to bog off. Oh, you've just reminded me as well. When can you pop your link in, please, Lady Witch, for anybody and me because I got paid. Sorry, I just hiccuped then. It was like a hiccup and a burp. I'm so sorry. What a pig. I was just starting to sing, I got paid today, I got paid today, so I can make a little donation to the kitty cats. So it's a good job you popped up then. So yeah, before I close this down, would you be able to pop your link in? And then if anybody wants to donate, you can do, and I will the moment I come offline. Yeah, so all being well, I will definitely do something Monday night if I do not come on Sunday with Uncle P and Denny, but I can keep you going. Oh, there we go. Lady Witch's Kitty Cat Fund. Let me pop it up there. We'll put you on the main screen. Thank you very much. And the minute I come off this live, I shall make you a little donation. It won't be a lot because obviously I am always skint, but it'll at least be enough to buy a bit of cat food. If nothing else, I'll be pissed on Sunday because City will be champions, hopefully, and I've got champagne in fridge. Oh, lovely. Oh, well, I'll keep my fingers crossed. I know that Porky got really pissed off because Everton were winning. Was it last? Yeah, it was last night, wasn't it? There was a lot of effage and jeffage going on because I think he was hoping that Everton. I think didn't they go from being were they something like 2-0 down and went like 3? I don't know, 3-2 up or something. Kiss and chat. Going to head into bed now. Thank you for an interesting chat. Night night all. Night night, Frida love, and thank you very much. And yeah, I'll hopefully see you on the next one, and I'll get some interesting stuff together. Either that, or it'll be a fun night with accents and silliness, depending who we have up. But I'll let you all know well in advance. Thank you so much for coming as always, Frida. Right, guys. Well, as JC is going to go live, and I know that those of you who are up will probably want to go in and have a listen. If I hop offline, it gives you guys time to make yourselves a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, or pour yourself a big vodka, roll a joint, do what you like in preparation for her live. So I shall not digress any further. Okie dokie. Well, thank you so much for being in, everybody, as always. And I will hopefully see you all on the next one. So have a lovely weekend, everybody. Hope the weather is nice wherever you are and whatever you're I shall sign off now in my usual way. So I'll see you all on the bright side.